And again, so for those of you, I see some people that I recognize, and then I see some new names. So I'm just going to go ahead and basically welcome everybody to Shaken with a Twist, virtual Shaken with a Twist. My name is Shauna Nelson. I am your hostess. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing at the Sheraton Cavalier and the James Hotel. And this is my fun gig that I get to do because I get to meet so many wonderful people and network and get to learn what everybody's doing. Personally and professionally, and yeah, it's just a great outlet and a great event to be a part of. And so thank you, Wesk, for putting this on, along with the help of wonderful sponsors that I'll get there. Of course, you can see also on the screen here, Karri Howlett. She is going to be our wonderful inspirational speaker for tonight. And what a interesting, great way to kind of do this for your first time out. So I know you're a pro at speaking and being in big groups and small groups. We've already had a little chit chat, and I think we have a really good banter back and forth. So this will be fun. I'm looking forward to this. So for some of you that are new, because I know that it was fun. I was able, there's the normal people that come to these things. And I thought, well, what the hell? Like, I'm going to invite my friend who lives in Palm Desert, and I'm going to invite my friend in Calgary. So I thought, let's do this. Let's make this a global kind of virtual interview and event for tonight. I know, Karri, you were mentioning you're inviting some friends as well from throughout. Okay, so Karri, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, good.
Great. Good.
So yeah, friends, family, coworkers, you name it. I've been kind of sending it out and emailing it, and I can see more and more people. I see some people, hi, thanks for offering this event. Thank you very much, Marge. I've got Alyssa from the Saskatchewan Chamber. Awesome. If you can hear, please call. Okay, gotcha. Good. We got some, we have Josie in the background. She's ghosting us. And so she's there and she's able to, from Wesk, you'll see some comments that come up. So basically, a lot of you know what this is all about. But for those of you who are new, Shaken with a Twist is an event that's brought to you by Wesk, Women Entrepreneurs of Saskatchewan. And what it's really about is when we are all together and we're able to be together, we are really networking, getting to know each other on a personal, professional level. So there's some great networking opportunity. And then we sit down and we have this casual couch conversation where we get to talk with an inspirational leader, entrepreneur, individual. And when I say individual, yes, a female in our community, but we also have had some couples that have been on the show as well, and really get some really good nuggets of wisdom from them. We hear about their journey and their story. And tonight is going to be exceptional as well, because Karri and I don't really, our past, because she's a smarty pants. She's a geologist. She's a financial wizard. She's, and that's not my thing. But we haven't really bumped into a lot of circles, but we had some really good conversations leading up to this. And I am really inspired by some of the messaging that you're going to hopefully give everybody tonight, because I know I was inspired after I had that conversation with you. So that's really what tonight is about, is that as well. So I will get into some housekeeping right now. So for those of you who, so here we are, we're going to talk about Wesk, and we're going to talk about some of our, so yes, we're going to listen to Karri Howlett with Karri Howlett Consulting, and I'm going to read her bio a little bit later, but you will see some of our sponsors that are on the very bottom there. So you see Edwards is there. So Noreen, I think I did see you that you're on. So hi, Noreen. With Edwards School of Business. And Karri was actually a lecturer with the Department of Finance, the Edwards School of Business. So thank you very much for Edwards School of Business for coming on. Of course, the NSBA, they are my favorite because they are my wine sponsor. Hint, hint, wine sponsor with the NSBA. So Keith, I'm not sure if you're on, but I know that Alan was on, who is the chair. So thank you very much for that. Uyghurs Financial, as well as our appetizer sponsor. Again, we have wonderful appetizers that are typically provided to us by Calories. We always have a great, delicious charcuterie board and vegetables and whatnot. Unfortunately, I hope you have your own little snacks at your desk or in your living room or wherever you are enjoying some wine and some snacks. So thank you, Uyghurs Financial. Deb, if you're on, or Colton, thank you very much. Some of our supporting sponsors, we have Virtus Group, and that's Maura, that's usually there, always there with her banner. Of course, the Miller Thompson girls, and of course, BDC, Terry or Warren, that's usually in the crowd as well. So thank you very much for supporting sponsors. Of course, we usually are not in, right now we're like I said, in our homes, in our couches, in our dens, but usually we're at Village Guitar and Amp. So unfortunately, we cannot be in that wonderful venue, but I'm sure when we're able to get out and about, they would welcome us back. So thank you, Dan and Steph Canfield, that are usually our great hostess. And so we're doing our part. We're staying at home. We're flattening that curve, and here we are. Also, our wine usually is sponsored by, and we get a nice little tasting by Cindy Zusky with Andrew Peller and Patty Olson with Authentic Wine Spirits and Merchants. We wish we could have the supplies sent to your homes, but maybe next May, hint, hint, or this coming up May, because we will be still doing the virtual Shaken with a Twist in May as well. I think I've got all of the sponsors covered off. So let's talk about some of the WESC events that are going to be happening here. So we have a business plan basics, which is on April 16th, 10 a.m. to 12. It's online. This is an online beginner's workshop. We'll show you how to build the perfect business plan and teach you the need to knows of market research, marketing, financials, and more. So go on the website for more information on how to click and get online. Of course, we have another one on April 15th from 12 to noon, being resilient through uncertainty and fear. This is just some of the free webinars that you're going to see every Wednesday at noon during the COVID-19. There's lots of different topics, such as navigating uncertain times with calm and control, April 22nd. Again, that's noon to 1. The nice thing about these great webinars that you can go on, you can just stay in your pajamas, your day pajamas, and grab your coffee and Bailey's. I mean, what a better way to enjoy some personal development. So, you know, you got some free time, I would definitely go visit the WESC website and see what they got going. And next announcement we have for WESC is our anniversary and gala and conference. And unfortunately, we had to postpone the WESC 25th Anniversary Awards Gala and Small Business Conference, which was going to be held in May in Regina. But good news, I mean, bad news, because I can't do a road trip with all my girlfriends for that one. But the good news is that we are postponing it, which means we are now moving it. And it's going to be moved to Saskatoon. And it's going to be on September 30th and October 1st. And it's going to be at the Sheraton Cavalier in Saskatoon. So tickets are going on sale. And you can just go to the website, the WESC website, and take a look and get information from there as well. And yes, our next Shaken, as I mentioned, May 14th, still virtual, and it's going to be with Melanie Morrison of Better Cart. Awesome. I think I've gone through all my housekeeping. And with that being said, I do, at this time, I would like to ask, we do have a message actually with Prabha. Prabha's online, but we do have a message from Prabha, so let's play that message.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone,
and welcome
to WESC's
Virtual Shaken with a Twist.
Virtual Shaken with a Twist.
We are living in some extraordinary
times.
Nothing seems normal anymore.
Whether it's working, connecting, exercising, networking, and perhaps post-COVID, there'll be new normal.
But to infuse a sense of
normalcy during these challenging times, WESC is offering some of these events virtually, such as Shaken and Uncorked, and some of our programs are being delivered remotely.
The message I want
to leave with you tonight, though, is that WESC is here for you. We're advocating on your behalf with the provincial government and the federal government. We've provided some relief measures to our loan clients, and for
we're offering
complimentary memberships.
I know these are really challenging
and tough times for all of us. But let's not forget to practice gratitude.
Let's not forget
to honor the humble Broncos on the second anniversary of their tragedy.
And most importantly,
let's not forget to pay tribute to our essential workers who are out there. They are out there so you and I can stay in and be safe.
Well, I'd like to wish you a good
Well,
evening.
I'd like to wish you a good
Stay safe.
evening.
Keep
Stay
healthy.
safe. Keep healthy.
We'll get through
Together,
this.
we'll get
I hope you
through
enjoyed
this.
this evening.
I hope you
with our
enjoyed this
inspiring
evening
business
with our
leader.
inspiring business leader,
Thank you.
Karri Howlett. Thank you.
Fantastic message. Prabha Mitchell is a good friend and a dear friend. And I just, again, at times like this, she has the right words to always put your mind at ease and for you to, basically focus on what's important and come together as a community. Thank you very much for reminding us of the events that you have that are on your website, as well as the message of membership being free. Again, go on the website, get a little bit more information, or call in as well in regards to that if you need a little bit more information. So with that being said, I would like to read I'm trying to do a couple of things at the same time here. Anyways, I would like to read the bio of Karri, and let's get going here. Let's get on to the main event. So with that being said, again, just a reminder, I am going to read the bio, then we're going to get into the questions, but feel free to put your questions on here, and I'm going to try to navigate, and either if there's something that's really pertinent, I might even just jump in and ask that question. If not, I'll probably save a lot of them to the very end, but feel free right now, because like me, if I don't put it down, I forget right away. So go ahead, put your questions down there as well. So let's talk. Let's share your bio, Karri. So Karri has worked with business in corporate strategy, mergers and acquisitions, financial due diligence, and risk analysis for over 20 years. Karri currently sits on the boards of SAS Power as the chair of Safety, Environment, and Social Responsibility Committee, Next Gen Energy as the chair of ESG Committee, and Saskatchewan Trade Export Partnerships as the vice chair. She was recently president of Respec Consulting, formerly known as North Rim Exploration, which is a geoscience and engineering consulting company based in Saskatoon, and led the acquisition of the company in 2009 and subsequent sale of Respec in 2016. After transitioning the company to Respec, Karri left the company in March 2019 to make way for two outstanding female geologists to lead the company into the next phase of growth and expansion. Karri has returned to her consulting practice, Karri Howlett Consulting, where she provides an independent, objective view on business, which includes scientific and intuitive insights into their company, their industry, and the general business environment. She has a unique approach that combines strategic planning, corporate management, and personal development. You are just set up for this call today. I'm just reading through all this stuff. This is going to be a good call or a good interview to guide clients to embrace fearless curiosity and explore their business in a new way. We're going to be going in a new way here with what's going on in this world that will provide clarity of purpose and aligned business practices. She holds a Bachelor of Commerce with honors, so she's a smarty pants, in finance from the University of Saskatchewan, and has earned the Chartered Financial Analyst, which is a CFA designation, and Chartered Director designation. An active community member, Karri has previously served on several community and professional boards. In addition, as I mentioned, she was a lecturer at the Department of Finance at the University of Saskatchewan's Edwards School of Business, participant in Leadership Development Program, and a protege in the Betty Ann Hagee Womentorship Program. She is married to wonderful Jeff. Is he in there? Hey, Jeff, there you get a photo bomb us later. So wonderful husband, Jeff, and has two daughters who she loves fiercely with all her heart. So I hope everyone has grabbed a glass of their favorite beverage or snack and you're sitting down. And with that being said, everybody, let's take a sip and let's get ready to get shaken with a twist with Karri Howlett. Or Howlett, sorry. Okay, so we got to take a sip.
Yeah.
So,
cheers. Nice.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There we go. Cheers, everybody. Thanks, Prabha. Prabha says cheers. Awesome. So, as I was reading your bio, but then you sent me sort of like a resume. I was like, oh my God, this is stuff it's out of my world. I just don't deal with this kind of stuff every day. So it was really challenging, but yet I was very excited to learn more about this world and learn more about what you do. So, you have a degree in commerce or a degree in, finance honors. So obviously you're a numbers girl. I like to spend the numbers. So I thought we have something in common there. So when I was thinking about what you do, my head was really hurting. Like I said, it was like, it's so encompassing. There's so many parts of what you can do and provide people. So I was thinking about Pretty Woman. I remember, Richard Gere sitting at the table and he's got all this people at the boardroom, and you've got the lawyers and you got the finance people, and, basically people like you that are sitting there because he was going to buy this firm or merge or whatever he was going to do. And so I think, here you are dealing with these type of things every day, and in your own words, can you really, tell us examples of projects that you've worked on, or share with us a little bit about how a person with a finance degree has set herself up to work with all these really interesting companies on interesting projects to where you are, and have set yourself up as an entrepreneur and have an awesome career, and you can define it on your own terms. So yes, very big question, but I think it will help set the tone for the rest of the questions.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. First off, I'm honored that you think of Pretty Woman when you think of me, but it's, but no,
you got
the hair. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, and the Richard Gere character, I haven't been fortunate enough to run into anybody like that, but, anyway, no, it's been an interesting ride. Yeah, when I think back, it's 20 years, and I keep thinking, how the heck is it 20 years? Because it's, I don't feel that old, but I've had an interesting and really, really lucky career. I started out, as a bank teller when I was in university, and got pretty lucky with that. And then I moved to Calgary shortly after I graduated from university, and that's where my husband was at the time, my boyfriend, and was living. And so got an opportunity to work in the oil industry there. And while I was working there, I worked for a company called Amoco. And when I started, oil was $10.68 a barrel WTI. So that tells you how long ago it was and how far the oil industry's come since then. But so I worked there for a couple of years, and while I was there, I got really lucky because I got to work on the merger between Amoco and British Petroleum, and BP ended up buying out Amoco. And so, and I'll tell you why it was lucky. It was because in the oil industry, you work back then. I don't know if it's still the same now, but we would work longer days, Monday to Friday one week, and Monday to Thursday the second week, and get these sunny Fridays. And I happened to be the only person in the office, and someone came down and said, you know what, the Federal Trade Commission needs to do an analysis of our crude oil at Amoco, and we need to make sure that we're not infringing on any competition. I said, what are you talking about? And then they said, oh, right, you haven't signed the confidentiality agreement. So then I just happened to be the one that started working on it, and got kind of a neat opportunity to witness the mergers and acquisitions in that, with that. And then after that, we moved to Saskatoon after we had our first daughter. My husband's from Saskatoon as well. And had an opportunity to work at a company called Co-op Trust, which is now Concentra. And I see Alan Mignault and Laura Drinkwater on the list. Hi, Alan and Laura. I worked with them very closely at Co-op Trust back when we were doing the merger with Concentra, or with Sask Central. So now, as you know, Co-op Trust is Concentra Financial. Concentra Bank. Anyway, so that one was an interesting one because it's a smaller company, and so than Amoco and British Petroleum. So I got to actually have a bit of a front row seat and be involved with strategy at the highest levels during that merger. And my job in that was to take all the ideas that the senior leadership was coming up with and put them into numbers on a spreadsheet. And just say, okay, if we do this, what happens financially? If we do that, what happens financially? And so kind of cut my teeth in that area with that. Super fulfilling and stressful as all hell, but it was really fulfilling, and so I really quite enjoyed that experience. And so after I left there, I went to Saskatoon Credit Union, helped them out with their first set of mergers before they got into Affinity, and really enjoyed that. And I thought maybe more people would like that. So that's when I decided entrepreneurship would be for me. That I wanted to explore different businesses and using my skills in financial modeling and understanding strategy, and again putting those words into numbers and seeing what kind of risks and everything. So that to me was really interesting, and so luckily I've been able to build a career off of that, and really enjoyed it. And most of my work is here or has been here, and so I mean, there's no better place to do business.
I was looking at it thinking, okay, like I look at you just mentioned oil, you mentioned banking. I mean, you did fracking. What the heck's fracking? I like frack. Yeah. And I mean, you're obviously, well, maybe you are now, but at the time, you're not an expert in that product or service. And so when you take on a project or work with a company on a project, I mean, do you have to gain some credibility to know what fracking is about? Or, I mean, is it just really your skill set and what you're doing is transferable and you just go into the company and to expand on that? Sorry, I'm going off script again, but expand on
okay. Yeah, that's a great question, because I know I suffer from imposter syndrome daily, because I'm definitely not the subject matter expert with a lot of the companies that I work with. But I think what I do like to do is ask a lot of questions, and I think one of the things that I would say is a skill of mine is to take concepts and kind of boil them down into, okay, well, what does this look like dollars and cents wise, So I think that's a skill that I bring that is kind of applicable really to any industry. And then the important thing though is to make sure that I make sure that I ask the smart people about what's really going on. So I definitely don't try to I try not to overstep my bounds.
Right. So you consult, you have yourself and your company, but you will go and contract or consult with certain subject matter people in that area.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if a client is needing my expertise, say for example, we're preparing a company for sale. I likened it to getting your house ready for sale, right? So you're cleaning everything up and you're putting a fresh coat of paint on the walls and all of those kinds of things, and you need those experts to do it. I shouldn't be painting the walls. So it's so I luckily over my career have met a lot of people who I would consider subject matter experts in a variety of different things. And so when I need that expertise, if the company doesn't have it already, or if I need a second opinion, then I make sure I bring those people in.
Yeah. Definitely. I am not good at cleaning my house, so yes, I would be calling people. So mergers and acquisitions. I was kind of trying to read it. I heard a lot about it's called M&A. So I find that more sexier. I'll call it M&A. Then I feel like I'm a subject matter expert. Sort of like a marriage. I read a little bit like rarely in love. I would find it if you were, because you've worked both sides, I would find it very challenging. Like, how do you find a win-win? And is there such a thing as a win-win when it comes to this?
Yeah, I've been lucky. I've had lots of opportunities to witness a win-win. I've seen variations of what a win-win looks like. But I always say with mergers and acquisitions, it's like it's exactly like you said, Shauna. It's like a marriage, and so you have to go through that same process that you would in a marriage. So getting to know each other, all of those different things. And I also say that a lot of times you've got to kiss a lot of frogs to marry before you marry your prince. So, you know, there's a lot of this kind of try and fail. Yeah. Exactly. There's a lot of try and fail, you know, and then try something different with someone else and then fail. So, you know, it definitely takes time to do it correctly. But I think just like a marriage, you know, you've got, if both parties are open and honest about what their expectations are, you know, you're transparent about, you know, the skeletons in your closet, because during the due diligence process, they'll find them. And it's, you know, so it's important to be as upfront as possible. But I think the most exciting part about mergers and acquisitions is that envisioning of the future together. So I think, and getting really crystal clear on what your future together looks like is really, really important, because it'll save a lot of stress. And it's that thing you always come back to when you start fighting, right? So when you go through the nitty gritty of the deal, so you're, you know, going through the legal statement or the financial statements, you're going through your due diligence, you're negotiating the deal. There's all these little things that can really derail things. And if you go back to that, well, why are we doing this in the first place? And both are really solid in that, you can usually get through it. And then to make sure it's a win-win, you gotta go post-merger integration in a good way too. And that's a whole other ball of wax. Yeah.
Yeah. So just want to say hello again to our audience, our shaking with a twist people, keeping engaged, and make sure you're you know, hydrating yourself as well. And yeah, put your questions down. If you can't hear us, I think there was a message there in regards to some issues you may have if you're on other systems. I mean, don't talk to me. I'm not techie at all, but go take a look there. If you're actually just not hearing us well, don't worry. We're going to be recording this, and it's going to be played back on our Facebook, West's Facebook page. So if you're frustrated, just have your wine and follow us later, and it'll be recorded. So getting back to the questions, so in our backyard, actually, here in Saskatoon, you know, an M&A that we can all relate to, it was Potash Corp. They merged with Agrium, and today we know them as Nutrien. So again, that's how I was trying to understand your world. And this has now been a year, it was probably a year or so in the making, and then, you know, then they're merging, and you got to look at the personnel and the changes of systems and programs and head office, and where is that going to be? You know, in your role, I mean, how do you merge two companies that have different cultures and corporate culture, I guess, organizational culture, and create a new one? Or do you take the better of one? And what advice would you give to the listeners right now in general? Because I mean, it doesn't only pertain to a merger of two companies, but even a company right now on its own. I mean, what can you do to create, maintain, and live that organizational culture that is productive, that's supportive?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it's so different for every business. And but I think what I've seen that's worked is if the companies are as open and transparent as they can be with their staff. With a public company, it's a little bit harder, but I think if you're open and transparent with your staff about where you're at, where you and that, again, that crystal clear messaging on why we're doing this. You know, when it comes to the post-merger integration, it's taking it from the brains of people who've been working on this for months, if not years, likely more like years, that have been grinding out on the strategy and doing all the work to, you know, go through the due diligence, go through the legal agreements, all of that kind of thing. And then they go, blah, you know, here it is, staff, now you got to deal with it. And that's kind of not really fair, you know, to just expect people to just pick it up and go. So I think as a leader in that situation, the more you can be transparent with your staff early on, the better. And then you got to give them time to adjust. There's a mourning period that goes on for each of these each of the people that work, no matter whose culture takes over, if there is such a thing, and especially if it changes in name. Some people are really attached to their previous company, and there's a mourning period that can often happen. And then there's the whole fear of the uncertainty, because of course, even if as leaders are going through the merger phase, they're also slowly starting to think about what implementation looks like. But until you really get into it, you can't really know how it's going to go. And so just keeping that dialogue open with the staff is, I think, really important. What I've seen that's worked with some organizations that I've worked with is if the leadership is, again, presents that crystal clear vision. Why are we merging? What's going to be good about it? What do we want to create in the future? And then give opportunities for their teams to come together and build rapport with one another, and then actually start to create the future together themselves. And I'm seeing more of a trend in business toward less kind of authoritarian structures and more to self-managing teams. And I've seen great success in the merger aspect of things with self-managing teams. So that's what you can do as a leader. I think as an employee going through a merger, yeah, it's scary. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's rationalization of resources that are going to happen. There's all kinds of things that are going to be going on that creates uncertainty. I guess anybody who's gone through a merger is going, oh, COVID's kind of the same. Not really, yeah. But you know what I mean. It's you don't know what the future looks like, and so and they're trying, but it takes time to figure it out. So I think it's as an employee, I think it's really good to keep an open mind, to really do your best to try to grasp onto what that vision of the future looks like. And if it's not working for you, you got to be open and honest about that. Because I do believe that employers really want their employees to feel like they fit and that they belong. But if they don't, then because the business has evolved and changed, or the employee has evolved and changed, then you need to have that conversation and figure something out. But yeah, the success of a merger is in the implementation, and it's all about the people. And so that's the value. Yeah. And so so leaders are important to be mindful of that in that process.
Mindful, walk the talk, comes from top down, and making sure you're communicating. And and again, it's not just with mergers and acquisitions. It's every day that these leaders in these companies that are listening out there, if you need any help, during these trying times, definitely. So we'll get to that too. But my next question is, so you have consulted on many companies in mining, in geoscience. You talked about oil, $10 a barrel. I mean, are we almost there? I think we're at 20 some right now. But I mean, you worked in the $10 barrel. So anyways, engineering. I mean, these are all non-traditional sectors of seeing women working in this field, whether it's within the field or as a consultant. What insights would you share with us that you experienced? They might have been challenges, it might have been benefits or opportunities. And I do have a second part to this question as well. What do you think needs to happen to change so that we can see more women in these certain sectors as well?
Good question. So I did my consulting firm for a little bit, and then one of my clients was selling his business. That business was North Rim Exploration. And while we were doing the business plan and that, getting the house ready to sell, it was one of those companies that I thought was so interesting. And I liked it so much, I bought the company. So I bought in as one of the owners. There were several of us. And it is a geoscience consulting company. One of the things that was interesting and also attractive about the company was that the entire leadership team was women. No not intentional, just worked out that way. And just really phenomenal. And again, so women geoscientists, so women in STEM working in the mining industry, and as a consultant. So, consultants aren't always viewed as the most popular person in the room generally. So, you got that too. That said, there's, I could probably count on one hand in 10 years, any time that any of them ever mentioned or that I witnessed them feeling less than because of being a woman in the mining industry. I have to give props to everyone in the mining industry for just welcoming my team and the ladies and men too, with open arms and really seeing the value that they bring. And I think that's a really great thing to have witnessed. I also was fortunate that I had very confident women who knew what they were talking about. And this was we bought the company in 2009, female leadership team in 2009. I see Andrea Davidson. She was on our board for a number of years. Hi, Andrea. So, we were asked a few times to do a story on, a female-led geoscience company in the mining industry. And we kind of held back because we wanted to be, or maybe I wanted to be wanted them to be known as really amazing geoscientists first, who just also happen to be women. And they were. They are also really excellent managers. There's a lot of really good strategic discussions. It really doesn't matter what your training is in. You can think business, absolutely. These women were a great example of it. And as a result, what ended up happening was, so we sold the company in 2016 to a company called Respec. And I stayed on for 3 years for that post-merger integration. And then when I left, two of the ladies who were in my management team stepped up to take over the leadership within that company. And so they're running the Canadian division for Respec and doing a heck of a job. And they're big up-and-coming leaders. They are leaders within Respec.
Yeah.
The larger
well, with your mentorship and your guidance and handing over the torch, as Prabha said here, you're a great role model. And you are part of a non-traditional sector for women. And you've also been on several boards, as I mentioned as well. So what is your advice for getting more women in non-traditional sectors to participate on these corporate boards as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Ask. So it's funny because I got on the SAS Power Board in 2013, and that was at the time Brad Wall was premier, and he and his cabinet had put out an initiative to try to encourage more women to be on Crown boards. And I was in the Betty Ann Higgy mentorship program at the time. And so wisely, they said, oh, that's great, one-stop shopping. There's a ton of women in there. And so they put the call out, and I thought, well, that might be an interesting thing to do. And so I put my name forward. And at the time I was running Northrim, and I was busy. And I got a call from the Premier's office to say, would you like to be on the SAS Power Board? And I said, well, I didn't want to be on a Crown, and because it was just too much of a commitment. And then I called Nancy Hopkins, who's my governance mentor. She's been my corporate lawyer, and she's an outstanding human being. And I said, do I do this, or like what? I've been on community boards. Sometimes these are thankless jobs, And she was on vacation in Thailand, phoned me back at like 5 o'clock in the morning, Thailand time, and said, yes, you have to do it. This is an opportunity you can't let go to waste. And so I was really, really grateful for that. So I will tell you that that's still a mission of the provincial government, to ensure that there's adequate representation, strong representation of women on Crown boards. And so just ask. We've got all kinds of representation on the board from different industries, different areas of province. I mean, because the manpower is for everybody in Saskatchewan. So, yeah, used to say you can't be on the
I
board.
agree. I mean, I've sat on many boards, I still do. And one of the things that I was told a long time ago from Irene Sifferling, who is with, Dynamic, her name.
Or dynamics.
Or Dynamics, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love Irene.
Yeah, and it's about like, what is your passion? What is the things, research what boards you want to be on and what your role will be. And the point being is that, just ask, because being on some of these boards, it's like we almost end up like having to shoulder tap people, and you don't want to do that either. And I felt like sometimes when I was starting to get in on some of these boards that I wanted to be on, I felt a little bit intimidated, but then there's the naive part of me that I'm like, I don't care, I'm just going to ask anyways. And I'm glad I did that, because I would not have had the opportunity and experience to sit on some wonderful boards that I have been on and are on, and to meet great people that, like you said, like the people that are on some of these boards, you learn so much from them as well. So great message, just ask. And yeah, it's great that there has been an initiative that Wesk has also been part of as well, and promoting to having more women on boards. And so, yeah, good message. There is a couple of questions. We will get to them, because there is one that we'll get to from Laura. Drink water. Love your last name. Actually, I would like drink wine, but drink water is good too. So I'll drink some water.
Drink wine first, then water.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wine. Okay. I'll get back to yours, Laura. But then there's one that's coming up by Lynn. And I think I'm going to cover that one right away. If not, if I haven't, I'll just kind of ask it a little bit more too as well. So with that being said, COVID-19. Obviously, I don't need to explain what that means to everybody. I think everybody has probably been COVID-19 to the max here on so many levels. But obviously, this global pandemic has affected us in so many ways, personally, professionally, with business closures, temporary closures, hopefully, travel restrictions, and just restrictions in general for us not to gather and network and learn off of each other, and family and friends. So the personal, social side of that too. So it has negatively affected some of us, definitely the bottom line for a lot of people. So in the event this goes on much longer, what advice can you provide to help businesses better manage through this uncertainty? The question that Lynn, because this might be good too, because she was talking about, I'm excited to see creativity and innovation that will result from COVID-19. What examples of creativity and innovation have you seen during your M&A activity, but anything in regards to just your corporate management and strategy? Like, again, what advice can you provide to help businesses manage through this uncertainty?
Yeah. Invest in a good crystal ball and then tell me where you found it, because I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's funny. It really just takes it down to basics, right? Right now I'm just hoping that everybody I know and love is healthy after all of this is said and done, and then the business will figure that out. But I guess the only thing I can really draw on to think about, how we as a society might get through COVID-19 is I've been around in business for 20 years. Like I said, I started in oil, $10.68 a barrel. Now look at it, right? And look at where it was. It was a lot higher than that for a long time. And then it came down. Mining was the same, goes through those cycles, right? Those ebbs and flows. When we were at Northern in 2013, because we're in the geology side, we were in the front end of the mining cycle. And so when the mining downturn hit, it hit us first, because exploration basically stops. And it kind of came to a bit of a grinding halt, and we were like 4 months away from not being able to make payroll. So it was, scary time. So anybody who's laying people off, been there. not fun, and but it's I guess it's what you have to do to make sure that they have business to come back to when things get good. Again, because they do. The yeah, and I guess to kind of keep building on the Northram story, we did what we had to do, and then we in 2016 or 2015, 2 years later, I guess, we had our fourth best profit year in our 30-year history. So when you come out, you can sometimes come out looking a lot better. And that positioned us put us in a position to be able to sell our company to a really great partner. So anyway, yeah, bad times come, but then they go away. And so advice is hang on. I would say if it's what you love to do and people need it, keep doing it. If it's what you love to do and people don't need it, see what you can do to twist what you do into things that someone would need. But it's really going to come back down to those to being passionate about what you do, and really just kind of putting it in. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I wish I could say that it's the old business rules are going to apply, but I don't know if they will. So I think it's just going to go back to human resilience and the fact that we've come through these crises before, and I've witnessed them firsthand, and we will again. So keep hanging on, everybody.
You kind of answered my other question in a weird way, but not really. When I say weird, meaning like, I probably didn't write my questions very well for myself, but basically it was like leading through a crisis. And, we really have seen individuals and companies and organizations and political leaders and our community stepping up and being creative and being innovative and being supportive. But once this is all past, now there's going to be leading in a different way. So we have leaders that are doing a good job and some that are not doing a good job. But now it's the next path once we get out of it. And it's going to be like, we call it like, the new norm, but it's not even going to be normal. I don't even know what's going to be called the new whatever. And that's going to be important. Like, we all know these leadership styles, and like you mentioned to me, like there's always a crisis around the corner. So here's just one of them. And you mentioned about the crisis that you have gone through, a number of them with different companies. So any last words of wisdom that you can provide to our leaders that are listening today, and will hopefully listen in our recorded episodes, what they need to get ready right now? They've got some time, they're hunkering down. What do they need to do to be able to lead in the aftermath of COVID?
Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer that you have to do what sets your soul on fire, right? So, this is an opportunity, I suppose, if you have some time on your hands, to really kind of go inside your own heart and figure out what sets your soul on fire, and do that for work. Hopefully it's what you already do. But if it isn't, maybe this is the time to kind of to daydream a little bit about it. I think when we come through all of this, we're going to need to. That's the stuff that's going to get us through the aftermath. I think it's that positivity, that creativity. And I'm sorry I didn't address that other question. I'll have to think about what kind of examples of creativity I've seen. I've seen a few. But yeah, I think that, we're going to have a lot of pent up energy, maybe not a lot of pent up money, but I think we're going to, if people, use this as an opportunity to really, get themselves focused, keep it simple, do the thing you love. We'll come back.
You did talk about keeping it simple, like we talked about that, and going back to basics, right? And just making sure that's solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I was talking with some people at Sask Power, because obviously, they're an essential service, and they're got to keep the lights on, and every crown is in that situation. Healthcare is going through that too, and it really start to realize all the things that you do that felt necessary, that maybe in a situation like this where you really got to get laser focused on what your purpose is. This is, yeah, we're starting to notice maybe where we were spending some time on things that maybe just weren't that important.
Yeah. So I'm going to end off with my last question, serious question from me anyways. I got more fun ones, but my serious question to you, the last one, and then we're going to open it up and I'm going to go back and see. So right now, as I ask this question, for those of you, start getting your questions in. And yeah, it would be great to hear from those of you who, are not from Saskatoon. I would like to know, if you're not from Saskatoon, who's here that's outside of Saskatoon. I would also know whether you're in Saskatoon or not, who's new. I know some have already responded, so it'd be great to see who's new. And yeah, let's hear some questions from our fan base. So, but my last question to you is, because this is about speaking to an inspirational woman and understanding her journey and getting some words of wisdom and lessons I've learned kind of thing. But I'd also like to, you talked about mentorship a little bit, and you've been involved in it with Betty and Hagee, and also you talked about a lady lawyer friend that you go to for mentorship and guidance. Who or what inspires you?
I just am inspired by people. I don't know, just everybody. Anyone who's and that's what I love about business, is that it's an opportunity to bring people together who've chosen a certain career and allow them to create. Provide essential services. Thank you to everybody who's doing that. Give us a wonderful restaurant experience. Give us all kinds of things that are just make the world a better place. And I think that that's what I love about business, and that's what I love about the people in business. And the more inspired people that I can work with, the better. So yeah, I'm inspired by everybody. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've been inspired by you, and you've been calming to me as a business person, and listening to your examples that you and I talked about earlier, because we had so much time on our hands. But it was just like, wow, like, we can get through this. We can get through this, and we will in Saskatchewan, because that's what Saskatchewan people do. So yeah, I feel like we are in good hands here. We've got great leadership in our province, and we've got great leaders in general in this province. And as a community, we always do come together and support each other. So, and yes, being inspired by people. I agree. And new people that you bump into and hear their story. So I'm going to go to my first question, that Laura Drinkwater. So it was kind of on one of the questions here that we were talking about. I think it was about organizational structure and whatnot. So she put a question in here. What is one of the best examples have you seen of managing a cultural shift in an effective manner?
That's such a good question. I knew that Laura was going to ask a good question because she's so smart. Hi, Laura. Yeah, cultural shift in an effective manner. I do a little bit of corporate training facilitation with a company called Morris Interactive, and one of their clients is Bayer Crop Science, who had just gone through a merger in the last few years with Monsanto. So you can imagine you've got two companies that were head-to-head competitors, and now they have to work together as one, and that's hard. And what I've seen working with them over the last couple of years is just remarkable. Kind of that. Okay, this is what the future looks like. And it's up to us to create it. So let's make it happen. Um, why are they like that? Well, I mean, I think it's because they've got leadership that's telling them we're not going back. So this is your future. Let's go. And then they've created opportunities for teams to come together and create that future for themselves. Obviously their guidance, but how they do their work day to day, and that creation of that team mentality is something that company is invested in, and I think it's really paying off for them. So I think every opportunity you can have to bring your team together, whether it's virtual or in person, I think that's just going to help. Hope that answers your question, Laura.
I did get, I think there was another one here. I'm trying to listen to you, navigate on my little tiny screen here. Yeah, sorry. Oh, here's one from, oh, wait, no, that's not it. We did that one. Lynn, okay. We got that one, I think. Oh, here's a good one. Nancy Barr. What is the next innovative idea you're looking to pursue?
That's my friend Nancy. She's a teacher. She is amazing. I'm just going to put that out there. So anyway, thanks, Nancy. So yeah, next innovative idea I'm pursuing. I think that's a really great question. I still like the idea of investing in businesses, and right now I'm got my own consulting company, but I am not invested. I'd like to get involved with doing more like venture capital type investing, kind of and being in a board. But I'm right now kind of trying to figure out what my decision criteria is, or my investment criteria is for that. So when I know, I'll let you know, and then I'll we'll put the call out to see what kind of businesses are out there. But right now, just trying to figure that out, and of course the world's changing. So, but again, it's just kind of tapping in, figuring out what makes me come alive, and then finding other businesses that are also in line with that. So that's, I guess, that's kind of innovative, I guess.
I have a question here from my good friend Stacy. So we talked about boards and getting involved in boards, and you're on a number of boards. So what boards again are you currently on? And just explain a little bit about the board experience.
Sure. So okay, I'm on Sask Power. I think everybody's generally from Saskatchewan, so you know what that is. I'm also on the board for Next Gen Energy. So that's a uranium exploration company. It's located north of La Loche near Clough Lake. And so I'm on that board. And then I'm also on the board for Saskatchewan Trade and Export Partnership. So really interesting boards. Being on Sask Power since 2013, I've gotten to see a lot of really cool things that is happening in the power industry, in the energy industry, and it's changed a lot in the last 7 years. So that's pretty exciting. And then of course, trade and export is really interesting because of the prior to COVID thing, we were experiencing a lot of trade disruption, and so getting to witness that and at that table has been interesting as well. What advice would I say to people to get on boards? I think, every board experience is helpful. I was involved with a lot of community boards before I got involved with power, and then of course was on the board for my company Northrim that we were on. I took some training, Directors College training, so that was helpful because there is a very specific skill set that's required to be a board member. That said, if you are on a board with good people who are really well versed in governance principles, they'll bring you along. So it's great. And the number one thing that I was told during our Directors College training is the best skill you can bring as a board member is to ask questions and So if you're curious and inquisitive and not afraid to ask questions, then you'll make a good board member.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of company.
Yeah. What is Directors College and certification that you're?
Yeah, the Crowns provide training for directors to enhance their skills, and so I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So a lot of people now, I think, are doing the ICD or the I can't remember what that stands for, but anyway, but the Directors College was the contract that the Crown CIC had prior to the ICD one. So the Directors College is based out of McMaster University, and it's a very similar program. Runs you through kind of the main things that you need to know.
Like Johnson Cheyenne, they do something like there's like a couple of different things that you can do online or through the universities. And
yes, yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I feel like Andrea Davidson is trying to type something, but it's not. I can't see. And do you see anything on your end for a question?
See, not yet.
Okay. All right. All right. Karri, your thoughts. This is from Prabha Mitchell, our CEO of WESC, our mighty leader. And I have to say, she's a mighty leader. She's got some good minions, strong minions behind her as well. So Josie and Karli, I just want to thank you so much for what you've been doing in regards to making sure that we have great programming that's going on and getting all the online stuff in place and being laser focused on just making sure that our members of WESC are getting support and resources that they need during this time, and helping us with this virtual Shaking with the Twist. Karri and I, and like there's a great little thing that I'm going to show you. It's about the Brady Bunch, and they're all like doing this whole like Zoom thing, and it's like, Alice, put your audio on. Alice, put your video on. That was like us for an hour last week trying to figure this out. And poor Josie had to like sit through it. So thank you very much to Josie and Karli and the whole WESC staff and Prabha for being awesome during this time period and providing your members and also free membership. So take a look at what that means as well during this time period. So with that being said, Prabha did have a question. Karri, your thoughts on emergency response measures to small businesses from our federal and provincial government?
It's never enough, is it? Yeah. I don't know. I think I think everybody's just kind of feeling it out. I don't know. I'm actually more interested in knowing what you think as small business owners, because I understand. I understand that everybody's just trying to figure this out, and this all happening a lot faster than I think any pandemic plan ever anticipated. And they're just trying to figure out what's needed. And it's nice to see that they're not set in stone on certain things. But that said, I haven't really heard much about the realities of actually applying for these things. So I don't know how easy it is to get them, or if it's an arduous process or what. So yeah, actually, I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stuck in my cave because I'm sales and I'm just trying to, rebook and, cancel, rebook. But I know that my HR and my finance people, there's so much. Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce, NSBA actually as well has great, and WESC obviously has great resources and information. I sat on a webinar today that the Saskatchewan Chamber put on with Minister Jolie. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right. Smart woman who is, she was just really, it was great conversation with her, down to earth, very transparent. So I felt like, this is all coming so fast. I know that there's so much information out there and it changes every day. So I feel like they're trying as best and as fast as they can because it changes every week. Like it went from 10% to now 75%. And what does that mean, right? It went from EI to CERB to now this. Like, so there's things that are out there. We just gotta, it's about reading through the verbiage. I mean, and again, there's people that are out there and companies that are out there, Virtus Group, everybody, one of our sponsors, that have this information. So it's so that, yeah, try to get as much information you can to get through the weeds, I guess, right? That's my take on it.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it sounds like it's pretty open, but again, I haven't gone through the realities of applying for it, so I don't know if it's, you know, not for everybody. I don't know. It sounds like there's a whole bunch of different programs that are happening, but yeah, I'm very curious. Like you say, Virtus Group and other experts will be able to navigate it for you.
Yeah. So Andrea Davidson finally got in. Okay. Hi, Karri and Shauna. Karri's been a mentor of mine for many years. And when I joined North Rim's board, it was a learning curve like you talked about, Shauna. Karri, what advice would you give to ladies who are new to a board scene, how to provide value in their role as that board member?
Great question. And thanks, Andrea. She would know how to do that too, because she was a great board member. I think getting on a board, it's a learning curve. I always say that when I got on SAS Power, I spent the first 2 years just trying to figure out what the heck was going on because it's such a big, complicated company. Yeah, but I think the point of being a board member is to ask questions, and your questions will get more intelligent as the years go on, as your knowledge increases. That said, the basic questions will sometimes stump people, and they're very, very good questions. So go easy on yourself. Ask every question that you can think of to at the board table, after the board meetings, whatever. And that's, I think, an important thing. The other thing I would say, just general kind of board dynamics, and I think that's something that I've noticed has been really helpful on some of the boards that we've been on, is that if board members can support each other in ensuring all the ideas get out, so that, because I think as board members, we read through all the material, we have our list of questions, and we feel like we just want to kind of bang them out. And what ends up happening is we'll have, you know, someone who's asking a question, they'll get an answer, but it's not really fleshed out. And, you know, as a board member, I'm often guilty of this, is I'll jump on to my question next. But instead, you know, building on that last question and making sure that it's really fleshed out is really important. So I think if you're unsure about anything, yeah, just feel free to ask. And as veteran board members, good to support those new board members so that they can get up to speed quickly and feel comfortable asking the questions.
Mm-hmm. I think also as a person who's been on that board and you see a new person come in, I think there's also a mentoring kind of put them under your wing type of thing. And I've really appreciated that when I've jumped onto new boards, when I have sort of a senior board person who puts me under their wing and kind of gives me the, you know, 411 on everything. So I think that's also something that hopefully there's a mentorship or an orientation that boards should look at when you're a new member as well. I think that's
absolutely
important. Yeah.
And the value of the fresh perspective that the new board member brings is everything. So yeah. We love new board members.
Yeah. Sorry, I haven't been, this is when I catch up on my news when I'm done work, as I go in and I look at everything. So yes, there was grant announced by the province of Saskatchewan today. We'll have applications open April 13th. So we'll have to wait and see what that process looks like. So that's Lynn. Thank you for sharing. I saw that post, but I didn't get into reading it. And also Prava, I gotta move my mouse. Prava, I applaud the efforts. Prava Mitchell, our CEO of West, I applaud the efforts of our governments, in particular our stakeholders, our small business and employees under 9. We need to support for them at the provincial government's announcement today will help. So hope there's more coming on all levels. But basically, yes, there was an announcement. Click to, I just want to click here to see if I've missed anything. I think I know. Josie, I think, because we are running really close to that hour mark. And this is where I want to go to the fun stuff. So with that being said, reach out to Karri. She's a consultant and she has her own business. So if you have any questions as follow-up to this or anything else, I'm sure she'll be happy to email you and call you and have a follow-up after this. So thank you, everybody. But don't go yet. This is the fun part. Oh, hi, everybody. I'm just seeing everybody say hi. Okay, let's get to the fun part. All right, so this is what I do, which I call it's like the 7 revelations of Karri. 7 because that's my lucky number, and 7 just because we want to find out the fun side of you. We got the serious and the very, but let's really dig deep and find some interesting, quirky things about you. So with that being said, my first question to you, Karri, is what is your pet peeve? Number 1. I mean, pet peeves.
Well, I have lots. I actually was just talking about one yesterday. I hate it when you're listening to the news on the radio and they put sound effects in them. I hate that. Right? Yeah. I mean, I can imagine what the sound of a protest sounds like. I really don't need to hear that. So yeah, that's my pet peeve from yesterday.
Yes. Okay, see, this is where I have to go back to this. Okay, so, when we are able to go back traveling, I asked this question last night to my husband and my daughter. When we are able to travel again, where is it that you want to go first?
Well, I want to go see my family.
Yeah.
But then, hi, my mom's on the phone. Hi, Mom.
Oh,
yeah. I want to go see my family, but then I've always wanted to go to Portugal. I've never been to Portugal and it looks amazing. So yeah, that's where I want to go.
Awesome.
Have you been to Portugal?
I have never, no, I haven't. I've really kind of been like, I don't know, a homebody-ish. Like I love, and I'm kind of like, I love the lake. I go to the lake all summer. So during the summer, it's at the lake. And then the winter holidays are like, okay, Hawaii, Palm Springs. We did the Mexico thing for a while, but I need to expand and get out there and go to these. Greece, actually, okay, I'm turning 50. So hence my favorite number, 7/7/70s, July 7th, 1970. So now everybody knows my PIN code to everything.
We won't use it, I promise.
Yeah. This is my 50 year. And so Greece was on my list and I was going to go with a whole bunch of ladies. And I had a lot of things on my list. Nashville was another girls trip and so on and so on. So I guess it's going to be 2021. I don't know. But yeah, Portugal's beautiful. Croatia, I also heard is phenomenal. The waters, the blue. Yeah. So yeah. Come to Edmonton. Oh, I've been to Edmonton. I've been there for hockey games, shopping. Yes, Carmen.
Carmen. Hi, Carmen. Yes, I've got to get to Edmonton.
I lived in Edmonton. I was born in Slave Lake, Alberta, and then we lived in Edmonton for a while. So yes, I have family in Edmonton, and I love Edmonton. So there's lots of home offices. I'm not working at home yet, but I will next week. So I tried to like rearrange my shelving to look a little bit decent. I'm hiding like stuff over here. Oh geez, I gotta move this way. So I have this sign over here to hide crap. So I'm gonna have to like make my home office look really good. But people are working from home. There's a lot of us. What is it that you're doing that is providing you a little bit of a mental health break or mindfulness about not staying in this? Like, what do you do?
I do yoga. I love yoga. I'm a little fun fact about me. I am a certified children's yoga instructor. I haven't done it for years, but yeah. So that's pretty fun. So I do yoga and meditate, and then I go to Orange Theory, and well, not now, obviously, but they have free classes on YouTube, and they're hard. So I do those. Yeah,
they're hard. Everything's hard. Yeah. Orange Theory we have a good Teresa. I don't think she's on here, but she's actually overseas. I think Western Canada in that regard. But yeah, Orange Theory, you have children. So, right? You said you're an instructor for yoga for children.
Yes.
So, why would that be different from yoga from adults? Like, or is it different?
You usually use the animal names. So that's the fun part, is that, you know, instead of using the Sanskrit name, you'll use the animal name. So yeah, and then we usually make the animal noises. So it's fun. Yeah. I think adults should do more of that, because there's nothing more fun than doing, you know, eagle pose and then making the sound of an eagle, right? So
well, isn't there a blind dog pose or some dog? Isn't there a dog pose in yoga?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes,
That would be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need some inspiration. You've been very inspirational, but we need some inspiration right now. So what quote that really will get us through or gets you through some of these challenging times? What would be a good quote for us to?
So my grandma is the wisest woman in the world, and she has given me quotes my whole life. And the one I think that's probably relevant right now is inch by inch, life is a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. So take it inch by inch.
Yeah, that's a good one. Day by day, minute by minute kind of thing, right?
Yeah. You bet.
Is your grandma still here with us?
Yes, she is.
Oh, good, good. Well, your grandma is a smart woman. I love it.
Yeah, she is.
Okay, so we got lots of restaurants that are out there in our community. So I do encourage everybody to support local and to try as best as they can, whether it's the restaurants that are delivering right now. It's a long list, but support our local restaurants. And I know you're probably missing some of those and craving some of those right now. And I'm not sure if you're a foodie, but if you are, great. If not, but it still doesn't matter. What food are you missing right now? What restaurant are you craving right now?
Well, I'm missing all of them because I'm on a cleanse right now. So I'm missing all of them. But there's two. Una, I love their kale Caesar salad and all of their pizzas. And the other one is the nachos supremo from Amigos. It's on like a giant pie plate. My family all goes in and we all just eat.
From where?
It's so good. Amigos.
Oh, Amigos. Big nacho platter. Oh,
big nacho platter, nacho supremo grande or something. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I'm definitely missing that one.
Awesome. So with all this time at home, what have you got on your list to do or learn or finish? You know, we talked about cleaning your house, but I mean, paint the bathroom, learn knitting. Like, what is your things that you have on your list?
So in a fit of stir craziness about 2 weeks ago, I painted my dining room. You're looking at it. I still have to paint my office area, which is right in here. So I have to do that still. And I'm learning how to build up my own website. It's part of it's up if you want to check it out. It's just my name.com, www.karrihowlett.com. Half the links aren't working right now. I'm still working on it, but it's all self-taught. I'm going on YouTube learning how to build a website. So
you are amazing. Like, seriously, like stop it already, because you are, mining oil, and now you're in the tech world and you're creating your website. Like, this is crazy.
I'm learning my limits, and I'm learning from like 16-year-olds. So I love it. I'll learn from anybody. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, they're the best.
So my last question, number 7, if you could have a wine date or a cleanse date or a nacho date with anyone right now, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I would have that date with my grandfather, who passed away in 2010. He was very, very influential to me. He's an old farmer from Northeast Saskatchewan. Loved what he did. He couldn't wait to go to bed at night so he could get up in the morning and start farming again. Grew up during the Depression. So I think he would have a lot of really interesting things to say about what we're going through right now. And he would probably say that everything will be just fine, because it always is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be, it is like they went through those, was it the dirty 30s or like during that time period? This is something that definitely having some good old fashioned words of wisdom and peace of mind. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's it. There's no more torture. You know what? I want to say that, I thank you to everybody that has tuned in. Please stay tuned again. When we come back in May on the 14th, we'll have Melanie Morrison. I encourage everybody to share with their friends and family and everybody that's out there. Let's make this a big global thing. But I really appreciate getting to know you a little bit more, a lot more. And I encourage everyone to stay safe, be safe, stay at home. It is the weekend where we're heading into Easter. So this is really the kickoff to Good Friday and Easter. So celebrate how you usually celebrate. I know we're going to be missing some of our friends and our family, and hopefully you can get techie-ish enough that you can do the face-to-face via the computer. But if not, just take care of each other. Let's take care of each other in this community. We'll get through this, and appreciate everybody more so, and can't wait to give, and I will give right now, virtual hugs and kisses to everybody, and cheers. And please reach out. I would love to hear from you via email or Facebook posts or anything. I see a lot of new people. Reach out to the West, reach out to myself. I thank everybody for tuning in, and happy Thursday. For those of you who don't know that it's Thursday because you're not wearing your Thursday panties, but it is Thursday, and tomorrow's Good Friday, and this weekend is Easter. So celebrate, have a good time. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks,
Take care.
Everyone.
Thank you.